I would say there's kind of two things. So, like, the most physically challenging thing has obviously been the water carries and the logistics of like kind of figuring out where good water is and how much you want to carry versus how much water you think you'll actually need. So there's always a challenge in like, I really don't want to carry 5 liters, but I probably should, or do I push it and do 3 liters? So those kind of things, which hopefully we won't have to worry about too much more from here on out with water. But in terms of like social things, it's kind of like balancing your alone time and ability to kind of get in tune with the solitude in nature and kind of get deep in thought, and then the social aspects. Like, so weighing those two things, like, should I stay in a group the whole way and like keep on with the group, or and maybe sacrifice a little bit of my personal time or personal goals in terms of speed, or do I just kind of do it more solo? So it's kind of like a balancing act between those two things.
Yeah,
I think it's really a challenge for me in particular, because I like hiking in the morning, but I also like hiking with a group at the end of the day. So sticking with the group of people we have so far is pretty important for me, and the social aspects are just as important as the beauty aspects of the trail.
I hear you.
The waterless stretches in the desert, for sure. Makes me feel crazy.
What kind of crazy?
Like sun drugs crazy.
What do you, like, it describe that? Because I don't think a lot of people know what sun drugs are.
All right, so sun drugs is the way you feel in the desert and all of the waterless stretches, because that's what you're pretty much hiking through. And what it is, it's like a touch of heat exhaustion. Like, everybody's always got a little touch of it. Makes them a little crazy, makes them a little like silly and like laugh a lot basically and act just weird.
Probably balancing solitude and social time. Trying to get a healthy mix of both, without becoming a recluse and without relying on other people, at both ends of the spectrum. Trying to find a healthy balance of solitude and socialization.
Nothing about being on trail. I had an injury early on that I gave myself, and then knowingly did it. I just ignored it for a little too long and fixed that. It took a little bit of time, a week or so, to get over that. That was a challenge, but more of just like it was just a good thing to have, to remember that I can't fuck around like that. I have to be conscious of my body when I'm out on the trail, because we're doing big miles. And then after that, physically, nothing has been too challenging. I get the sleep, and I don't care much if I get hungry. It doesn't bother me much. I'm hungry a lot, and that's fine. Everything on the trail is cool. The most challenging is probably, I think a lot of people deal with, the social aspect of wanting to be out and living in the wilderness, but you're also within a community, and being nice and respectful to everyone I meet, but remembering that I don't have to live up to anyone's standards. And as Feynman, in the book I was reading right now, he talks about, you don't need to be good because people expect you to be good, or they think you're a nice guy. You don't have to be the nice guy because someone thinks you're a nice guy. Like, doing exactly what I want to do and knowing when to flex that a lot in order to build a relationship with somebody, but also realizing that this person really likes me, he wants to hang out with me and walk with me and camp with me, and I don't receive any benefit from hanging out with that person, even though they're a really nice guy and can't say anything negative off the bat. It doesn't really benefit me, and there's so many people that I don't need to bend my back a lot in order to hang out with someone if I don't receive the same benefit. It's a selfish way to look at it, but I'm also a fan of selfishness if you're always respectful.
I mean, you can't always be giving.
No. So it's a lot. Social is hard. I'm shocking how often. I was talking to a friend about the trail, and there's a lot of learning and technicals and going through the mountains and feeling everything about where we are and embracing that. but a lot of mental energy still goes into social dynamics and the community. And do I feel bad that I left someone behind yesterday and he's not with us at the moment and he wanted to be? And I don't necessarily feel bad, but it does take a little bit of energy. Think about it quite a bit.
It's been interesting because on this trail there are quite a few times that at least I have looked at the trail in front of me and thought, if I take one misstep, I might fall to my death right here, you know? There was never a point on the Appalachian Trail or even on the Colorado Trail, the sections that I've done on the Colorado Trail, that I was like, I could, you know, fall to my death right here. And that's happened a couple of times, you know? Like down in the desert, it was the Slideouts with the sand, or maybe like traversing snow, you know, in the Sierra. But that has definitely been, like, I wouldn't say that's like the challenge, but it has been interesting, you know, something that I guess I wasn't expecting about the PCT. I would say that the section right before Tehachapi and the LA Aqueduct and the heat, it was like 112 degrees or something, and I ran out of water, and we finally got to that, you know, last water source right before Tehachapi. And
so this is past the bridge. This is when you were back
past,
climbing
yeah,
and you hit the water.
yeah. And we finally got to that water source, and it was like noon 30, and it was like 110 or so, and it was just miserable. Like I thought I could pass out from heat exhaustion or something, you know, like we were just, it was, and there were like 40 people there, and there were 4 trees, and like everyone was huddled in like what little shade was there.
You were probably under a Joshua tree.
Yeah.
I doubt that does anything.
I was gonna, exactly, it wasn't much for sure, but.
I mean, the desert was pretty tough. It was like I don't handle the heat very well. Like I do pretty well in the cold, but in the desert, there's definitely some days where it's just like I just felt completely exhausted, and then like you try to go into your tent and like set it up underneath a tree or something like that, and it's hot in there. Like you'll just get like just a little bit of sun on there, and it'll start heating up like an oven
Really quickly.
and
Anything other than the heat?
I think one of the challenges sometimes too is just that like sometimes you'll be kind of like in a negative bubble where you're not around anybody for a long period of time, and like I'm a little bit more introverted than I feel like most people are out here, but I still get like pretty just like lonely if I'm just like hiking alone for 7 days and I don't like see anybody or camp with anybody.